Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This video, I want to talk about eBay and negative feedback and what you should do about negative feedback, and how negative feedback isn't as important, I think, as maybe it was before in the past. So first things first, you want to try to avoid getting negative feedback, right? So when you're doing a listing, you want to make sure you're disclosing everything about the item. If it has any defects, anything wrong with it, you want to be transparent and tell people. And you also want to take a lot of photos, make sure the buyer sees everything, because I think photos probably the most important thing, because a lot of times buyers don't always read the descriptions. But if you can show everything in the photos, then I think that's probably the best way to avoid negative feedback. So lots of photos, make sure you highlight any issues with the item, be clear with your handling times and your returns, if you offer returns or not. I want to be clear with that. I usually put that in the description as well. But yeah, that's probably the easiest thing you can do, is just really describe your items well, take a lot of photos. So how my views have changed on negative feedback. I mean, back when I first started, it was really a big deal. Like, if I got a negative feedback, I would think like it's the end of the world, and I would do whatever I could to try and, get it removed. I would message the buyer, try to work something out with them. If that didn't work, then I would call eBay. I'll try to talk to eBay and get them to remove it. So I made it feel like it was like a really big deal when I got negative feedback. But now, now it doesn't bother me as much. I just look at it as, part of doing business on eBay. It happens no matter how well, you run your eBay business. You're always going to get some issues with buyers. You're always probably going to get, some negative feedback. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. It's out of your control, right? So now, like, when I get a negative feedback, I don't let it bother me. I don't even worry about, like, even if it's like unfair negative feedback, I don't even worry about trying to work out something with the buyer to get it removed, or calling eBay. Like, I don't even bother with it. Like, it doesn't really bother me anymore. What I like to do is I like to respond to it, especially if it's like something they're saying that's outrageous. I like to respond to it. So I can show you guys something here, that, like, an example. What was it? Okay, here's one. This is what this guy wrote. He wrote, "Con artists will send you incomplete items and refuse returns." So my response to that is, the listing clearly states that the power supply is not included. It's your responsibility to read and understand the listing before you make a purchase. Unfair feedback. So, like, that's an example of someone that left negative feedback. They claimed I didn't send them something, but it wasn't included in the description. It was, and I listed that in the description, and all the photos didn't include this item that they thought was in it. So that's just an example of something that I would respond to and tell my side. So at least buyers, when they go into your feedback, they can see, like, okay, they can see kind of like the other side of it, from the seller, and why some of this feedback is unreasonable. So that's something that I would do. I think that's good to respond to. At least you can see the people looking on your page can see your side of it. So I would do that. But I wouldn't waste my time trying to contact eBay, trying to work something out with the buyer. A lot of the times, these people that leave negative feedback, they're not really interested in working something out. They just want to they're just upset. They want to leave negative feedback on your page. So I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't go take the time to call eBay and do all these things. Like, it's not worth it. The most important thing is your seller rating. As long as you have you're a top rated seller, all your metrics are good. To me, that's the most important thing. That's what you really want to be paying attention to, and making sure it is perfect. But negative feedback, I mean, especially if it's unreasonable feedback, it it doesn't really play that much of an impact into your, into your selling. As long as you're not getting like tons of negative feedback, as long as you're keeping your account, I would say like 98% and higher, I wouldn't really worry about it. What else did I have here? If you can, if you can try and resolve whatever issue is with the buyer. But if they're being unreasonable, like if they're trying to, ask for things that, you think are unreasonable, a lot of times, buyers will try to, threaten you with negative feedback to get something, to get like a partial refund or, something like that, right? So in that sense, I wouldn't let, I would just be like, leave me the negative feedback then. I wouldn't, play that game. But I mean, that's rare, right? Even getting negative feedback is rare. It doesn't happen often. And, I'd say 99% of the time on eBay, when you sell stuff, you're not going to have any issues with anyone, right? It's just like that 1%, of people that are going to give you a hard time. And I just look at it as like a cost of doing business. It just comes with selling on eBay. You're going to get, difficult people, and, just try to deal with it the best you can. Don't get emotional. Don't let it bother you. Just try to always be professional. Like when I deal with customers, I never get, I never let my emotions, get involved. I just always try to be, professional and, be professional and, be reasonable with people. Like if they have a legitimate claim, they're saying something happened, and, if it's legitimate, then okay, let's work something out. Maybe it got damaged during shipping or something like that. Then try and work something out. Also, too, the category you're selling in. If you're shipping electronics, gaming stuff, consoles, there's more of a chance you're gonna have issues, with buyers versus if you're selling like clothing or something, right? So that's a reason why I kind of also pivoted a little bit. I'm not really selling too much gaming consoles anymore, because I was getting issues with buyers, negative feedback, people saying it doesn't work, even though I test everything before I sell it. People say it doesn't work, then, what can you do, right? So, if you're in a category where you're seeing, you're getting some negative feedback, you're getting some returns opened a lot, then maybe think about, if possible, maybe switching to something else. If you don't have to sell those kind of items, right? That's what I did with the consoles. I kind of switched from selling them, just because I was having some issues. Another thing too is make sure you're shipping your items well, like you're packing your items well. That's another one that's important that I didn't mention, because you don't want anything to get messed up during transit. I make sure I pack my items really well, especially electronics, bubble wrap, newspaper, put it in a box, secure box. That's another good tip to make sure you're packing your items securely. So that's just a couple of things. That's my thoughts on feedback. Maybe I'll do another video about, maybe about returns as well, because I feel like that's like another thing, whole separate thing that probably needed a separate video for. So that's the video for today. I appreciate all you guys for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.